The candy. Havenbrook lay cradled in a valley where the sun lingered like a lover reluctant to depart. Its streets, lined with clapboard houses and shops worn soft by time, whispered of a simpler world. The bakery's yeast-scented warmth, the hardware store's clatter of nails, the library's hush of turning pages, these were the heartbeat of a town that prided itself on knowing every neighbor's name. But in the spring of that year, a new pulse began to throb, one that carried the scent of sugar and something darker. Tempting treats appeared as if conjured overnight, its facade a riot of pink and gold, windows aglow with confections that defied the eye. Chocolates shimmered like polished opals, lollipops spun with colors that seemed to breathe, gumdrops pulsed with an inner light, as if each held a captive star. Children gathered, noses pressed to glass, their laughter mingling with a hunger they could not name. Behind the counter stood Mr. Goodman, a man of silver hair and piercing blue eyes, his smile a promise of delights too sweet for words. "Come, little ones," he purred, voice smooth as molasses. "Taste the magic." Evelyn Harper, Havenbrook Elementary's heart and soul, watched the children's obsession with a teacher's wariness. At 35, she carried the weight of a single mother's love for her son, Tommy, a 10-year-old with a grin that could melt stone. When he bounded home one afternoon, clutching a paper bag from tempting treats, her unease sharpened. "Mom, you've got to try these," he said, eyes alight. He unwrapped a chocolate, its surface gleaming like liquid night, and popped it into his mouth. His face contorted in ecstasy, a moan escaping his lips. "It's alive," he whispered, voice trembling with delight. But then, the light in his eyes dimmed. The green of his irises faded to a slate-gray void, his smile collapsing into a blank mask. Evelyn's breath caught. "Tommy?" She reached for him, but he stepped back, gaze fixed on some unseen horizon. Her heart thudded, a primal fear clawing at her chest. She tucked him into bed that night, whispering assurances she didn't believe, her fingers lingering on his too cold cheek. Morning brought no relief. At school, Evelyn's classroom was a crypt. Her students, once a cacophony of giggles and questions, sat silent, their eyes mirroring Tommy's, empty, gray, soulless. Sarah, who drew unicorns in every margin, stared at her desk, pencil still. Michael, the class clown, answered in a monotone, his voice a hollow echo. Evelyn's lessons faltered, her words dissolving into the oppressive quiet. She caught the eye of Mr. Davis, the history teacher, in the hallway. "Have you seen this?" she asked, voice low. "The children, they're not themselves." Davis nodded, his face grim. "It's the ones who've been to that candy shop. My students too." "Something's wrong, Evelyn." They stood in the corridor, the hum of fluorescent lights overhead, and vowed to uncover the truth. Evelyn's thoughts churned. The candy, the shop, Mr. Goodman's too perfect smile. It all pointed to tempting treats. That evening, Havenbrook's peace shattered. Mrs. Johnson, the librarian who read stories with a voice like warm honey, was found in her garden, throat torn open, her blood soaking the roses. Her granddaughter, Emily, stood beside her, hands crimson, a vacant smile curling her lips. The sheriff, a man hardened by years of petty disputes, paled at the sight. Emily, only 8, offered no words, only that eerie grin. Whispers spread like wildfire. By morning, more horrors emerged. Mr. Peterson, the grocer, lay bludgeoned in his shop, his twin sons hovering over him, their faces smeared with blood. Mrs. Smith, the postmistress, was found hanged in her attic, her daughter sitting cross-legged beneath her, humming a tuneless song. Each child had eaten Mr. Goodman's candies, their eyes gray, their souls seemingly gone. Evelyn's dread deepened. She kept Tommy home, locking the doors. But the night brought terror to her doorstep. She awoke to a shadow in her bedroom, Tommy standing over her, a kitchen knife glinting in his hand. "You shouldn't be here," he intoned, voice flat, devoid of the boy she knew. Her scream caught in her throat as she rolled aside, the blade slicing into the mattress. She tackled him, pinning his small frame, tears blurring her vision. "Tommy, it's me," she sobbed, but his gray eyes held no recognition. With trembling hands, she bound him to his bed, whispering apologies, her heart breaking with every knot. The town hall meeting was chaos. Residents packed the wooden benches, their voices a cacophony of fear and accusation. The sheriff, sweat beading on his brow, called for calm. "We're investigating," he said, but his words were drowned by shouts. "It's those kids!" cried Mrs. Larson, her voice shrill. "They're possessed." Others scoffed, blaming drugs or a prank gone wrong. Evelyn stood, her voice shaking but clear. "It's the candy shop. Mr. Goodman is doing this. I think he's not human." Laughter and murmurs met her words. "You're hysterical, Evelyn," said Mr. Thompson, the banker. "A demon? Really?" The sheriff sighed. "We need facts, not fairy tales." Humiliated but resolute, Evelyn left, knowing she was alone in her fight. With Mr. Davis's help, she turned to the library. Mr. Wilkins, the elderly librarian, unearthed a tome bound in cracked leather, Legends of Havenbrook. Its pages spoke of Azazel, a demon who centuries ago came to the town disguised as a merchant, offering gifts that corrupted the soul. Those who accepted became his thralls, their wills bent to his. The legend claimed his power was tied to a crystal, hidden in a secret chamber, protected by a ritual of 5 candles representing sins, pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony. Only extinguishing them in reverse order, and speaking his true name at a sacred altar, could destroy the crystal and banish him. Evelyn's pulse quickened. "This is him," she said to Davis. "Mr. Goodman is Azazel." Davis, skeptical but loyal, agreed to watch Tommy while Evelyn acted. Under cover of night, she crept to tempting treats, the shop's glow casting eerie shadows. The back door was unlocked, as if inviting her doom. Inside, the air was thick with sugar and decay, the candies whispering softly, their colors writhing like living things. Her flashlight beam swept the shop, searching for the symbol described in the manuscript, a pentagram etched in stone. She moved a rug behind the counter, heart pounding, and found it, faint but unmistakable. Pressing it, she heard a click, and a trapdoor yawned open, revealing a staircase descending into darkness. The basement was a crypt of shadows, the air heavy with the scent of wax and blood. At its center stood an altar, surrounded by 5 candles, each flame a different hue: red, gold, violet, green, blue. On the altar rested the crystal, pulsating with a sickly green light, veins of darkness writhing within like trapped serpents. Evelyn's skin prickled as she approached, the manuscript's words echoing in her mind. Extinguish the candles in reverse order: gluttony, envy, lust, greed, pride. She studied the candles, their colors corresponding to the sins in the legend. With a trembling breath, she blew out the blue flame: gluttony, then green, envy, violet, lust, gold, greed, and finally red, pride. Each extinction dimmed the crystal's glow, and a low hum filled the air, as if the barrier were weakening. But as she reached for the crystal, a wave of nausea hit her. Whispers filled her mind, promises of power, of Tommy's safety, if she would only taste the candy. Her hand hovered, temptation clawing at her resolve. She saw Tommy's face, his real smile, and shook off the voices, seizing the crystal. Its touch burned, but she clutched it tightly. Footsteps echoed above. Mr. Goodman descended the stairs, his smile gone, eyes blazing like twin suns. "Miss Harper," he hissed, voice silk and razors, "you found my heart." His skin sloughed off like wet paper, revealing scales black as midnight, each etched with runes that glowed with hellish light. His eyes melted into pools of fire, and from his back sprouted wings of shadow, blotting out the light. "I am Azazel, weaver of desires, devourer of souls. Join me, and your son lives." Evelyn's heart raced. "You're a liar," she spat, bolting for the stairs. Azazel roared, his claws slashing the air, grazing her shoulder. Blood welled, but she scrambled up, bursting through the shop's front door into Havenbrook's silent streets. The crystal pulsed in her hands, its whispers growing louder, urging her to surrender. She ran, the town a maze of shadows, houses dark, their windows like empty eyes. Azazel pursued, his footsteps thunderclaps that shook the earth. From alleys, gray-eyed children emerged, their faces expressionless, blocking her path. Sarah, clutching a shard of glass, lunged, but Evelyn dodged, tears streaming. "I'm sorry," she whispered, shoving her aside. Michael appeared, swinging a bat, but she ducked, sprinting toward the church, its steeple a beacon under the moon. The streets twisted under Azazel's influence, cobblestones rippling like water, lampposts bending to claw at her. She stumbled, the crystal nearly slipping from her grasp, but clung to it. driven by Tommy's face. Azazel's laughter echoed, closer now, his wings casting a shadow that swallowed the stars. "You cannot escape," he taunted, his voice in her mind. Evelyn reached the church, bursting through its oak doors. The sanctuary was silent, moonlight streaming through stained glass, casting colors on the altar. She staggered forward, placing the crystal on the stone slab. The manuscript's words burned in her memory. "Speak his true name and break his heart." She gripped a heavy silver cross from the altar, its edges sharp, and whispered, "Azazel." The crystal flared, its light searing her eyes. She raised the cross and smashed it down, again and again, until the crystal shattered, a scream tearing through the air, not human, but primal, as dark energy erupted, shaking the church. Azazel burst through the doors, weakened but raging, his scales cracking, fire dimming in his eyes. "You've doomed them all," he roared, lunging. Evelyn dove behind a pew, the cross still in hand. He swiped splintering wood, and she scrambled to the altar, heart pounding. The whispers were gone, the children's souls freed. She felt it. But Azazel was not done. He grabbed her, claws digging into her arm, and she screamed, driving the cross into his chest. His roar became a wail, his form flickering, then collapsing into ash, the air thick with the scent of burnt sugar. Evelyn collapsed, blood and exhaustion claiming her. Outside, children blinked awake, their gray eyes clearing, color flooding back. Tommy, unbound, ran to her as she staggered home, his arms wrapping around her. "Mom, I'm sorry," he sobbed, his warmth real again. Havenbrook mourned its dead, the candy shop razed, its ashes scattered. But the scars remained, graves too fresh, memories too raw. Evelyn held Tommy close, watching him play under a sky heavy with clouds. Sometimes, she caught a whiff of sugar on the wind, a faint echo of Azazel's laugh. The town was free, but freedom, she knew, came at a cost that lingered in the quiet. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like, comment, or share this video with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to hear more stories like this one.